Hi, I'm David. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. Hey, today I want to just go over some current events, some stuff that's been going on lately, as well as my health update. Because my health update hasn't gotten worse, but boy, it's been a questionable week. It's been a little strange. So, my eyesight is definitely feeling like it's getting better. Again, my eyes are different. Like my right eye and my left eye at one point became very different to the point where the prescription of my lenses got drastically different. I think for a long time my eyesight was pretty regular. And then at some point, many years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago, my right eye got very much different than my left eye. And I think that is normal for most people, but for my eyesight, it was like so drastically different that even the doctor at that point was like, well, that's kind of normal. We're all getting older, even though he probably didn't know anything about anything except for how to do glasses. But now it seems like that maybe my health is starting to, um, maybe I'm starting to get a little bit better. I'm not sure. But like my eyes are definitely different. I can see very clearly, like up close and then far away. My eyes have to like work together to focus on the far away part. I started being able to read my computer again, which is nice, considering the fact that I sit, 2 feet away from my eyes to my computer. Like it got to a point where I could barely even read what was on my computer. So now I can see on my computer again. But what is strange is that if I close one eye and then close the other eye, I can definitely see a difference between the two. I'm probably just going to have to get my eyes checked again, and my prescription checked. So I'll be looking forward to getting that done. One thing that's been a little strange about the eyesight thing is, as it feels like my eyesight is clearing up, like the brightness, the light and darkness, it's not as it's not as easy. Like my computer, I have to turn the brightness all the way up on my computer, or I have a hard time, seeing. Like it's not like I can't see. I can see. It's just focusing the visibility part of it. Just the focusing part of it is very difficult unless my computer is turned all the way up brightness. So that's been a strange thing. I'll be glad when that resolves. Hopefully that'll be soon. So I've been obviously upgrading with I have all Apple stuff at this point. I've been upgrading on my Apple stuff, waiting for this new AI thing to push out, and I'm hoping that it'll make a difference because I'm so disappointed with the things that Apple's released and done lately that I'm actually considering trying to look at some other platform because I'm not super happy with anything that Apple's doing outside of the fact that I do like the operating system. I like the fact of how solid the Linux operating system is. Outside of that, I don't really take advantage or need any of the other stuff that they're pushing out. So I'm hoping this AI thing makes a difference, actually makes a difference. It isn't just marketing bullshit, which it quite possibly could be. So I'm looking forward to all that. But I do like that Siri will read out loud texts, voicemails, and it'll say out loud a person's name when they call, which I think that's probably not the best thing if you're, out to eat or whatever. I think that's probably a good thing to shut off. But when I'm just sitting here and a text comes in, I think it's kind of nice that I can know what it is or what it's about just by Siri announcing it. I'll be happy if I can ever get back to having an Apple Watch again, and I'll be able to just look at my watch and see what it is instead of having to go find my phone and sit down in front of my laptop and look it up. So I am kind of happy about that whole Siri thing, announcing these calls and messages. I think that's kind of cool. Now, where I live in upstate New York, it's not freezing yet. I think it did get down to freezing a couple days ago, but it's not freezing. But again, I'm from Florida, so I wear a hat maybe even all year long, except for maybe 1 month out of the year where it actually gets hot in New York. I'll wear a hat the entire time. There's a, like right now and in spring, where I'm right in the migratory path where sometimes I'll be sitting here and if I had the window open and a flock of geese flew by, it's so loud you probably wouldn't even be able to hear me talking right now. There'll be literally 1,000 geese flying over, which I guess is kind of cool, but to me that's a signal. That's an indicator that that it's going to get uncomfortable pretty quickly. I mean, I wear long johns 8 months out of the year in New York. And again, I'm from Florida, so I'm used to the heat. I can deal with the 6 days of sweltering heat in New York, no problem. Without air conditioning, I can deal with it. But when it starts, as soon as it gets down below 50 degrees, I'm already sitting in front of the heater. Like right now, I'm sitting in front of a heater. And I'll be sitting right here, depending on how cold it gets, that'll be how much I'll turn the heat up. But I sit in front of a heater with it on probably 62 to 65 degrees for 9 to 10 months out of the year. So it's that time of year, and I can tell that time's coming when I start hearing the geese fly over. And there will be like, sometimes I'll hear like 20 or 30 geese, and then other times I'll hear like 1,000 of them, which is, I guess it's kind of cool. It's kind of nice, except for the fact that I know that when they're flying south, I know that that's a bad indicator for me and that I'm going to have to be layering up and getting ready for winter for real. So I started shopping on Amazon for more blankets for my bed because I have this really nice Sherpa blanket, which I never knew what Sherpa was, but Sherpa is like a thicker blanket. I don't know if it's flannel or cotton. I don't even know. I just know that it's got these like little weaves in it that definitely keeps the heat in a little bit more. But I started looking for new blankets because I feel like I'm going to need a couple extra blankets this year. I may end up actually getting a electric blanket. I think maybe makes sense. But I started looking at all these blankets, and what the heck is up with these weighted blankets? People buy blankets with weight in them. Like I'm having a hard time with neuropathy and problems with my body that I'm afraid that I'm going to get trapped under a weighted blanket if I buy anything weighted. Like my blankets, the 2 layers I have in my bed alone right now, sometimes are hard enough for me to get out of and definitely for me to get into that I don't need anything more than that. Like I don't know what the heck's up with weighted blankets. I don't know if it's supposed to keep you warmer or if it's just supposed to make you feel like you're being held down or I don't know. What the heck's up with weighted blankets? I definitely don't understand that. So I've been doing more research on thyroid. I didn't know what a thyroid was, thanks to one of you guys, one of my subscribers here that started mentioning thyroid to the point where I actually started looking into it because it seemed like I should know what a thyroid was. I never knew what it was. Of course, I heard of it, but I never knew what a thyroid was. But trying to be focused a little bit on maintaining a little bit healthier level of thyroid, which I think is mostly having a pretty good level of iodine in your diet. I think the iodine helps the thyroid. But since I started focusing on having more iodine in my diet, mostly in, like I said, in just salt, I add more salt to stuff. I have noticed that I've been able to moderate my body temperature a little bit more. Like generally, like I said, I'm from Florida. I live in New York. It gets cold here. But for the most part, I'm mostly cold most of the year. And I think that it could be because my thyroid has been off. As I started focusing more on having more of a balanced thyroid, it seems like my body heat I'm able to maintain my body heat a little bit easier. And who knows, maybe that'll mean I'll be cooler in the summer and hopefully I'll be warmer in the winter. I hope. I mean, I don't know if what I'm doing actually helps or not, but it all made sense when I read it all. So I was talking several posts ago about how it felt like my muscles were bulking up. And I think that is like I'm definitely getting some muscle back. Definitely starting to get a little bit of bulk back, if you can call it bulk, considering the fact I weighed 100 pounds. Maybe I'm up to 120 pounds, but I can actually feel and see muscle groups in my body starting to grow a little bit. And not grow, it's not like I'm bulking up, but I can actually see that there's a little bit of muscle on top of the bone and in between the bone and the skin, which is good. I feel like that's a positive thing. So now I'm starting to feel these, even though I still have neuropathy in my hands and fingers, I'm not feeling like it's the actual neuropathy that's causing me the problems that I'm having. It's the actual muscle. It's the joints and all the stuff that maybe the nerves are that I'm regrowing connects together. It feels like that's my problems now. So like I'm starting to get some strength back. I'm starting to get a little bit more confidence in walking. My eyesight does seem to be coming back a little bit better. I'm still very focused on eating right, of course, because every time I eat a little bit outside the edge, functionally my body just shuts down. Now I did do a lot of research into this whole Ray Peat diet, and I'm thankful for getting the suggestion on looking up Ray Peat, because I do see there's definitely some science involved in what's going on with Ray Peat, but it doesn't completely make sense because it's completely opposite what most people in healthcare would suggest and say. Like focusing on carbs and sugar. I mean, I can see how that can help, but I just don't know how that complete way of thinking is going to solve the problems that I have. But with all that, I've had to make some changes because things are not seamlessly transitioning to the better for me, unfortunately. This thing with my muscles and my joints, like I think that's probably sugar related, or I don't even know. But definitely there's some changes there. I'm starting to feel like my joints stiffening up, and the more I stretch them, the more I can actually feel the thickness of the muscle underneath the thin layer of skin, which is embarrassing to say, but I can feel the joints and just the body bulking up a little bit. So I did have to add fiber back into my diet. Fiber being vegetables. I started adding more chia seeds. Like I'd said a couple weeks ago, I started adding more flax seeds. I had to add more fiber. I was having my system. I mean, I guess my system is probably as normal as anybody else's, but my system might be a little bit different because the nerves in between my head and the other end, like, aren't completely right. They're not correct. So I needed fiber because I was having problems with, and I know, yes, this is kind of personal, but I was having problems passing through stuff. And I had seen plenty of videos about how carnivore like straightens out your system and makes it so you go to the bathroom only when you need to, like because your body is absorbing so much of the protein that, whatever's left over gets passed. And that unfortunately was not the case for me. For me, it felt like things were slowing down, hitting a screeching halt, and that I was going to get to experience the beauty of childbirth, is what it felt like. And I did not want to do that. So I had to figure out, what am I going to do to change this? So the adding the chia seeds and the flax seeds did help out a little bit, helped me pass things a little bit easier, but even I needed more than that. That wasn't enough. So I added back into my diet peanuts and raisins. And I think people add raisins because they think that it's going to add vitamin C to your diet, and maybe it does. I don't know, but I feel like I get plenty of vitamins from the meat that I do eat, because I still do eat mostly. Um, I eat those frozen hamburger patties that I thaw out and then I microwave them up, and I just eat those. So I feel like I'm getting plenty of nutrients from that, but I definitely needed some help just pushing this stuff through my system, and getting it over the goal line is what I needed help with. And I felt like my body wasn't, like, meat alone wasn't going to help that happen. And I didn't really like what the outcome seemed like it was going to be like. So I did add some fiber back into my diet, and it actually did help. Within a couple of days, I was able to get things squared away, get things taken care of, and I'll be eating a little bit more um, fiber in my diet going forward. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna like think that that's stupid and it doesn't make sense, because I know how important eating meat and eating carnivore probably is, but for me in my particular health, I just needed, I know that I needed that fiber to move things along. But yeah, this thing with my muscle groups and my joints has been maybe the most uncomfortable thing, because when I wake up in the morning, I have to get up and like kind of stretch out just to pull the kinks out of my joints, and my elbows get definitely kind of kinked up, and I have to, like, when I wake up in the morning, I have to like stretch my arms out really quick and try to get the joints in my elbows to pop, and that whole thing is very not difficult, but I mean, I guess, again, like I said before, I'm happy that none of this stuff has gotten painful for me. For the most part, it's uncomfortable and just not not easy. Like, I can't really get up and go to my kitchen and just know that, like, my hands are going to work right, my elbows are going to work right, even my knees are going to work right. I have to like hold on to door knobs, and I have to hold on to doors, and I hold on from my bedroom all the way to my kitchen trying to get something to eat, which is a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. One of the things that I found out that I thought was kind of interesting, and I had made a post about green tea several weeks ago, and how green tea increases stem cells, which I do believe that, and I'm into that. The problem with green tea is there's enough, for me, the problem with green tea is there is enough um, caffeine in green tea that if I drink 2 or 3 cups of green tea in a day, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I could possibly lose the strength of my legs. I could possibly not walk. So I had to maybe drink 1 cup of green tea like every couple of days, if that. But one thing that I found out is that chocolate also fires up stem cells in your system. And it's not just chocolate like Hershey's chocolate, but actual 70% cacao powder. You have to have higher percentage cocoa powder, and that supposedly fires up stem cells in your system. So I've been buying this Walmart baker's chocolate powder for a very long time, and usually I would add a scoop of that to whatever I was cooking. But I just put that into warm water, and I did put a little bit of sugar in it. Um, and I actually like it. But supposedly that cacao powder like fires up your stem cells. Maybe that will help me. Who knows? But talking about sugar, so that whole repeat thing and adding, I am adding some sugar back into my diet because one thing that did make sense is your body, my body, needs a certain amount of sugar, and not literally sugar, but carbs and sugar to keep like to keep certain body functions healthy, like your brain, your heart, like body functions need sugar. Now, of course, the human body can make its own sugar by converting protein into sugar for the brain and for the, you know, for the heart and for, you know, other parts of your body. Your body can convert protein to sugar, but it does make a lot of sense to just have a little bit of sugar in your body just so your body can use that much easier. And one of you guys, one of my subscribers here had mentioned that it takes a lot of effort for your body to convert protein to sugar and not dislodge all the garbage in those cells that are, you know, potentially attached, converting it to that sugar. And that actually did make sense. So I did add a little bit of sugar back into my diet. And I added it back in by taking that scoop of cocoa powder and I take a little tiny scoop of sugar. I mix it in with water, maybe sometimes with a little touch of half and half. I heat it up into like a hot chocolate kind of tasting drink. And I drink that. And who knows if I have a lot of benefits from that, then I'll share it here. I'll let all you guys know, and you know, we'll see what happens. It would have been nice if there was enough fiber in that chocolate that it would have made sense, but that clearly wasn't the case. But there's also, I guess, a lot of magnesium in that chocolate. So I feel like I need, you know, I just feel like I need magnesium for some reason. I'm like so focused on magnesium and protein that, I mean, who knows what I would eat if it was just protein and magnesium. So this last week and a half has been crazy with politics, and I don't want to make this post or this channel about politics, but holy crap, I can't believe how people are just getting crazy. Even my relatives, which I gotta be honest, I'm pretty smart. I have a lot of relatives that are from not backwoods, but they're from places where life is a little bit slower, and you know, they're the kind of people that would go to a sports event and get into a fist fight over one particular team or the other. And these are the same people that found their way into politic teams. And it wasn't just them. It was smart people that I know all over the country. They just got crazy with politics. It got to the point where I didn't have to, but I literally started unfriending people because they were just on Facebook. I just unfriended them because, I mean, they're not crazy, but what they're talking is just crazy. And I mean, you can watch the news and you can see the crazy stuff that they're believing and buying off on. And this whole thing with the news and politics, I'm going to be glad when this is all over and done. And I know this happened last time when during Trump's whole, when Trump was running again the second time last time. People got crazy back then too. And I unfriended all those people. And now I'm unfriending a whole new group of crazy people. And maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know. It's possible. But I just think it's stupid because people are willing to shit all over their friends and just say mean things that they don't even really necessarily mean. And mostly what they're saying is what they've been told or what they've seen other people say. It's like everybody wants to be a content creator, but nobody creates content. They basically just repost and post spam posts, I should say. Like content creation and talking your piece, saying your piece, and talking your argument is one thing, but just reposting somebody else's crap is just, I just feel like it's to the point where there are people that I have friends on Facebook where they just they spam. I think they would like to call it sharing, but I call it spamming, where they just spam every day. It's like 3 to 5 different things they just spam. And I block all those creators, if they're even creators. I block all the creators without unfriending my friends, so I don't usually see any of the stuff that they repost. But now it's to the point where people are getting so sneaky, they make it so you can't even block it. So I'm actually having to unfriend and block out people that I would consider my friends just because I'm so sick and tired of all the crap that they're posting. Anyways, I hope that all ends. And I hope all you guys aren't necessarily dealing, I'm sure you're all dealing with that. But I hope that you're not dealing with your relatives, your crazy Florida relatives, that all of a sudden think that they're, um, the smartest people in politics. It's very frustrating. So other than my health just kind of being on and off in the last week, again, I have mostly switched my diet to, I would say carnivore, because I'm mostly eating hamburger patties and eggs and cheese for the most part. But then in between, I'm definitely adding the other stuff, and I added in some peanuts, I added in some raisins, which again, quite frankly, has done me actually well. I did add a little bit of sugar, and I'm just hoping that some of this difficulty will work its way out. I still am getting that feeling where the larger muscle groups in my body, it's like it doesn't hurt, it's not painful, but it definitely feels uncomfortable. And it's like my thighs, my calves, my forearms, and then of course, like my forearms feel like they're bulking up, and then immediately places immediately attached to those spots, like my hands, my elbows, and it was my shoulders for a while, but my shoulders seem to be mostly clearing out, which is a good thing. Um, but yeah, other than that, things are just sort of, I'm just looking at things that I made a note on. Things are just, for me, it's just day to day, week to week, month to month, probably with 90% of everybody that watches these videos, they kind of feel the same way. But every day I wake up and I just hope that today is a little bit easier than yesterday was. And it does seem to be like that is the case. And it really does depend on what I've eaten, or, yeah, mostly what I've eaten. Maybe how much exercise I got. I have to get down on the ground and start stretching out a little bit more, because I feel like stretching out will help me with some of this tension I'm having in my joints, in between my muscles. Like again, my my elbow and my wrist are where I'm having most of the problems. It's not actually in my forearm, in my hands. Like I can feel my hands tensing up, but it feels like the tension is in my forearm, and of course where my hands are connected through to my forearm. So I'm trying to stretch again a little bit more and see if I can stretch these joints out and start getting more full function again. It got to the point a couple weeks ago where I couldn't really walk from my kitchen to my bedroom with a cup of anything in my hand without spilling it halfway across the way, or trying to walk from one end of my house to the other with a bowl in my hand. Wasn't impossible, but it was pretty difficult because my hands just didn't really want to like work right trying to hold the bowl. And then I had bought these. I had bought a container of peanuts, and I bought a container of plant protein powder, and I could not get the lids off. Like it just wasn't happening. And I've had that happen before, and then somehow it resolves, and I'm able to get my hand around it, and and I can get enough tension on it to be able to crank off the lid on the peanuts or crank off the lid on the protein or whatever. Like that was something that I had bought a bunch of stuff last week that I just couldn't get the stupid lids off. And of course I could probably call a neighbor and get them to help, but that's just kind of lame. So last week or this week I finally got the lids off of two things that I've been trying to get the lids off of. I was pretty happy. One of them was the peanuts, and I felt like I needed the peanuts. So I was happy about that. So it's the little wins throughout the week that makes a week possible for me. I'm still trying to get back to work, and I am starting to see a lot more people getting hired in the HR space mostly. I mean, there are specific people in specific geographics or job categories that are getting hired, but my category is not. It wasn't really hiring, and the people that were getting hired were not white men, which is very frustrating, considering the fact that I have 20 years experience in my position in my territory. Is very frustrating. But I am starting to see some of these people getting hired again. Hopefully, with the new politics coming in, we'll get back to hiring and get off this whole thing of hiring based on your ethnic classification or gender classification or sexual classification. Hopefully they'll get back to hiring the people with the right job skills instead of just their color, their race, or or whatever. Hopefully they'll get away from all that. Anyways, I hope this was an interesting post. I hope you found something valuable. I think the most valuable thing I learned this week that I'm hoping makes a difference is adding that high percentage cacao chocolate to my diet, more so than it was before, to try to increase stem cells. I do feel like stem cells can help my entire body muchly. I feel like having more stem cells in my body would be great. Anyways, I hope this has been an interesting post. If you liked it, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, do me a favor and please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of the weekend. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.